Hello and welcome back to Sunday Breakfast right here on ChannelOne TV with myself, Jude Duncan, and my super co-host, Enno Safo. Just gone by, we had the news review segment where we're looking at the weekend's big news or big headline story. We'll be delving straight into our second discussion for the day, one that would, of course, intrigue you and be of interest to you, whether or not you are a new parent or a potential parent or an adult parent. It's really a conversation that will be of interest to you. So just stick and stay. But if you are wondering how you can be a part of the discussion going on currently, you can do so via all our social media platforms on X at ChannelOne TV GH. You can also do so on Facebook, ChannelOne TV, Instagram at ChannelOne TV as well. You can send your messages using the hashtag on X, Sunday Breakfast, and we'll be glad to read it all across for you. Alternatively, you could also text in via our active phone line on 0204 447 033 0204 447 033. We'll be glad to read all of your questions and contributions across for you. I know an interesting conversation up next.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure by myself, but I mean,
what do you mean by your? But you'll be a parent one day.
Maybe I'm already one you don't know.
Well then.
Maybe you don't know.
Well,
listeners, I'm not.
If that's what
Let
you
me
want,
issue the disclaimer.
Is that what you want
issue
to
the
know?
disclaimer.
You better issue a disclaimer.
Interesting. So the next conversation is on what every would-be parent should know. And joining us in studio is an emerging midwifery officer and public health advocate, Nana Afua McRighteous. Interesting. If it was a personality profile interview, I'd have asked you about your name because it's absolutely a first. And I'm sure you get that a lot, right?
Yes.
McRighteous.
Yes.
Interesting. Welcome to Sunday Breakfast.
Thank you.
The discussion today would be parents, right? A lot of the time, especially for first timers, it's like navigating a never-ending experience. Just give us a brief, let's say a brief summary of some of the key areas in dealing with newborns as a parent or a first-time parent.
Okay, so as a first-time parent, some people are anxious because this is a whole new experience to them. So in dealing with newborns, these are some of the things you already are supposed to educate yourself on the journey ahead. So with that, it slows down certain things for you because you are prepared for what is already ahead of you. And then you should be willing to sacrifice certain things. It's not like it's going to take most of your time, but you should know that there would be some additional work to you because in as much as you would have the whole time to yourself, if a newborn comes, it's not going to be like that. Something like diaper changes and all that should be something that you would master, it should be something that you'd be able to do.
On your fingertips.
Yes, exactly. I think these are the things that your sleeping pattern, you should know that these are temporal. It's not a permanent something. Things are going to change temporarily. And I think if you psych yourself that way, it's going to help you embrace your journey as a new parent.
Oh, interesting. So what you say are the most important aspect of new parenting that you should pay attention to, especially for parents who are, because I get the sense that even people who've had experiences are different across board. People have different experiences, and so they're not really the same. So as a new parent, all these are the most important things you have to pay attention to begin with.
Okay, so the most important thing you are supposed to pay attention to is yourself first. So as a new parent, you should know who you are. It works in different ways, as you said. So the way I will handle mine will be different from yours, and you don't need to learn from me. You need to sit down and assess yourself what you are good at. That's the first most important thing. Now your baby, you should study your baby and you know when he sleeps, when he's crying, all these things. Or if you've not even given birth yet, you should be able to be prepared for the baby. These are very important. Now your partner, if you have a partner or not, should also be considered. You should also know that there are helps around you. If you don't have anyone, at least there is this one trusted person in your life that should be available all the time for you. And these are the most important things. Also financially, you should be able to not financially stable, but there should be money because these kids come with a lot of money. Exactly. Your choice of hospital and then fear for the unknown. Anything can happen as you journey through pregnancy. And so you should be financially prepared. These things are very, very important.
Okay, so my baby is here. I'm a first-time mother. How do I bond with a baby, knowing that, you know, I'm about to experience sleepless nights, my time is not really mine anymore? How do I strengthen the bond with the baby?
Okay, so as I said, you should know that this journey is temporal. Your baby won't be a baby forever. So one thing that I used to do when I gave birth is positive affirmations anytime I wake up. So when you start your day with a good energy, it helps you throughout. And it helps with your bonding. Because in as much as you want to live that life, now this is your situation. And then you need to embrace it. And one thing I figured out is when you embrace it willingly, it helps you. You don't really need anyone to push you to do whatever you have to do before. It helps you bond with your baby. Now the bonding comes with physical touch.
Okay.
Yes, there should be that physical touch. Your baby has to feel you cuddling, and then there should be that closeness between you and your baby. In as much as you're a corporate woman or a business, anything, you have to make sure that you find time for your baby and then you bond with him or her very well. So that is it, finding time and then also accepting that this is a journey that you can do. Now, there are people who tell you that parenting is not that easy. As far as they've been able to do it, you should also bear in mind that you can do it.
How do we make sure that the baby bonds with the father as well?
Okay. So I don't want to be biased. I'll first talk for a mother who doesn't have a husband.
Okay.
And the mother who has a husband.
Right.
Okay. So how do you want your baby to bond with the father? If you don't have any issue with the father, then there is no need preventing the father from visiting the baby. So the father has to visit the baby and then they will have that bond. Video calling and all that, yes, the child growing up would figure out this is my father's face, but that love wouldn't be there. And so don't stop your children, that child from going, in as much as they are kids, even when they are in the womb, when you talk to them, they listen and they know whatever is happening.
Please, let's rewind a little. Are you saying that when unborn babies, so that would be a fetus, right?
Yes.
Is in the womb.
Yes.
You can communicate.
You have to. It's not like you can.
You have to. So that means that it is something you have.
Your senses are already working.
So you can call him and say, hey, do this, don't do this. No,
you can tell him or her, stop kicking mommy.
Hey, and the baby will stop.
They might slow down.
Is this science or it is magic
it is
or
science.
it is Africa?
It's not magic, it is science. So before a baby will come out, things start developing. Before they come out, everything starts, including the senses. And so you talking to the baby, she becomes familiarized with you. That is why a baby, no matter what, knows the mother. So their babies, how is it that when a stranger picks her, she'll be crying, but then when a mother sometimes picks her, they stop crying? It is because they've heard voices, they've bonded with them from womb before coming out. And so as a father, you are supposed to be there for your child. Now, if you are married and you are both under one roof, then that is it. It gives you that maximum. Don't use your work as an excuse. When you come home, make sure that you take the child and then bond with the child. You have to try and be sleeping with the child. In as much as you have a very, very busy schedule, you have to make sure that you sleep with the child, bond with the child, and then that's going to be beautiful.
Wow.
All right, let me put a pause here and remind our viewers that this is an interactive show and that you can Send in your messages and any questions that you may have, and we'll definitely read it for you. So 0204 447 033. 0204 447 033, and also on all our social medias with the hashtag Sunday Breakfast, and we'll read it for you. You're going to ask a question?
I mean, it's an interesting conversation we're having. So back to my communication, because that really struck me out. And I'm sure for a lot of, parents who have not even given birth yet, they will be interested in this part as well. So what the communication, and this is just a brief one, then we move on. The communication is largely non-verbal, if I get you right. Because, you're actually uttering words. So you're actually uttering words to a baby in your womb.
Yes. So you speak to the belly. So as the tummy is there, you can lie on your wife's tummy, and then you'll be speaking to the baby. Yes.
Interesting. We'll come to postpartum depression, right? Because I'm looking at the statistics here, and it doesn't really look pleasant at all. But just talk to me about this other also interesting part. For a lot of new parents, like Eno said, the baby's in now. For some reason, they are very skeptical when it comes to people visiting them, right? So they would rather be like, hold on, right, until maybe their baby's outdoored before they start receiving visitors. But some of them, because of family pressure, societal pressure, they can't really regulate the people that come to them. Talk to us briefly about handling visitors, or visitors and babies and all of those intricacies involved.
All right, sure. So babies are susceptible, as they are small, any small thing, they can get infected. So if you go to a mother and she's preventing you from seeing a baby, please try and understand. And this goes to anyone listening. So don't say she's like this, she's like that. No, it is because they don't want any health problem for the baby.
Right.
And then, okay, if you think you can't stand societal pressure, there are some of us that no pressure can move us unless we've decided to just let people in. Otherwise, what you are saying doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
I gave birth and I know what's good for my baby. If I want 3 months before people can see her, that is my problem.
That's your choice.
Yes, it's my choice. It's my I decide what to do. But there are some people that, as you said, yes, they can't stand it. And so if you know you can't stand it, make sure there is water. As the COVID came, it gave us a whole lot of ideas. So make sure that there is this water there, that when they come, they wash their hands before holding baby. Now, it is you they came to see. It is not necessarily the baby. So if you think that if the baby has a condition, or even if the baby does not have, you can just place the baby in her cots, and then they can stretch and look at the baby without necessarily picking or touching the baby. Yes.
All right. I have a baby. My breast milk is not coming. I'm frustrated. Baby is hungry. What should I do?
Okay. So if your breast milk is not coming, as in you've tried, you've put the baby to breast,
the nipple,
or you don't want it to suck, or you don't want it to fall, which one? Because our generation, it's not like sometimes it's coming, but because she doesn't want this physical change, she wouldn't want to make the baby suckle. But in case it's not coming, as you said, like truly it's not coming, then you can substitute other things like baby formula.
But they always say that, now even first of 6 months of breast milk, and then, you can start bringing in solids.
Yes.
So is that advice, though, for the milk?
In a situation where you can't breastfeed, we have babies without mothers. What do? We feed them with this. Now, the reason why they don't encourage this is the strength in breast milk and this, there is difference. And then the safety. Breast milk comes directly from your body, and then the infection you get in it is very minimal. But then using feet and all that, you wouldn't even know how to handle it properly, and then you can introduce infections into it during the process. There are people who are not neat, and then they would put the baby the bottles anywhere, and how to even wash it becomes a problem. This is why we advise people against it. But situations whereby we know that you are not fit to give breast milk, they advise that that you can.
So when can a mother introduce a baby to water?
Okay, so if you are doing exclusive breastfeeding, that means it is from the very first day to 6 months. And with that, there is nothing of that sort like water.
Really?
Yes.
Even in our hot climate?
Because the breast milk contains everything, including water.
Wow.
Yes. Including water.
Including water?
Yes.
So no water for the first 6 months?
Yes. So, no, that is if you are doing exclusive breastfeeding. But as soon as you introduce this formless, then that means you have to give the baby an amount of water. Also, after the breastfeeding, if you introduce solids, then it means you have to give the baby clean water.
Wow. Interesting. Wow, it looks like there are so many dynamics and so many twists, right? And largely because of like what I said earlier, the experiences are quite different. Yeah. But let's go and talk a little more about postpartum depression. Okay. Like I was saying, looking at the statistics now, estimated prevalence in Africa is currently at 18.4%. It's even higher in areas like Uganda, Cameroon, and the numbers show that is disproportionately the breakdown looks like it's even worse amongst blacks and even in Africa. So talk to us about it. What is it to begin in the first place, and how can we guard ourselves against it?
So postpartum depression is something that I like talking about because, as you said, it's something that is really happening. First off, our generation don't like to be stressed. Secondly, our generation is introduced to internet whereby we live in delusion. Okay, so as soon as she gets pregnant, she starts looking at babies on the internet, and some are even foreign babies. So babies who are very, as in white with lots of hair, plumpy, chubby, not considering how she looks like or how the partner looks like.
Right.
So in her mind, this is the kind of baby I want to give birth to. So I want to talk about the dynamics, like how it comes about. So psychologically, she already knows, she being God has already created her baby in her head. So when the baby comes out and the baby is not like what she has seen, it becomes a problem. And that is when the depression sets in. Or let's say I am fair, and then no. Let's say Eno is dark, and then give birth to a fair baby. Sometimes they get depressed.
Well, but is it possible that way when neither of the parents have, it's not really in the genes of either of the parents, so right? We are both very dark people. And we got
now when depression sets in, depression it doesn't tell you how it comes about. Somebody can be scientifically inclined, very intelligent, but still can be depressed. You don't know. Because you would know that possibility that a fair person can give birth to a dark person is very high, but then you'll still be depressed because that's depression for you. You don't really know how it came about. Yes. So me being born by 2 dark parents, I'm fair. So if my mother was going to be depressed, then for her they had depression because
over the roof.
Exactly. And then, as I also said, aside these things, people, as in profession-wise, so like a model, then let me say coincidentally she gets pregnant. She cares about her figure, her stature, and she doesn't want anything to change. So the process of her body changing can just get her depressed. Now let's even put models aside. Every lady wants to be in shape. So I know that if my body is going to change after giving birth, no matter what, there's going to be a change. Someone will say, oh, you don't look like you're giving birth, but it's a lie. Definitely there is something that you know that when you from the time you've not given birth and comparing your current state, you see that there is difference between. That means there is a physical change in your body, and this is what people want to prevent. And so, why did I give birth? After giving birth, why is that I've become so chubby? Why is that I've become this? Why is that my tummy has become this? They start questioning themselves. And then other partners, instead of they helping them psychologically, they worsen the case. So won't you hit the gym? Are you happy with yourself? Comments that come from partners.
But if you're asking somebody who is complaining about, I mean,
no
excess.
This is not somebody who is already complaining. Somebody, some of them you wouldn't even voice it, but they are the ones who are worried. Now it depends on how you carry
so
it
how you
as
go,
a partner, how you
okay.
go about it.
Yeah, I feel you.
But there are some that say it to the extent that it gets them depressed. Now they go and stand in the mirror and they start looking at themselves because they feel that there are changes and it can affect them.
Right.
It's not everyone who is emotionally intelligent.
So the communication,
or even strong.
Or strong.
The communication. So I want to believe that there's a whole science to the communication with people who are experiencing postpartum depression. Because like you're saying, if you're asking somebody to hit the gym, if they're not comfortable about their body after childbirth, I believe, or I want to believe, it's out of would usually be from a place of good intent.
Okay.
But maybe the way it was communicated is where the problem would be. So time is not on our side, but I wish we could just do, maybe you have to do a full show on just postpartum depression. But just talk to us about the do's and don'ts, the key ones really, that are non-negotiables.
When it comes to
dealing with people with postpartum
depression. Okay, so one thing, let me just chip in. Sometimes stress also comes with it. The moment where I don't have anyone around me and everything is all by myself. Some lock themselves in the bathhouse and they'll just be crying. That's also something that brings postpartum depression. So now the do's is you should know that you are not like how you used to be. And then it's nothing bad at all. You should embrace however you are at the moment. Dress accordingly to fit it, and then you would like it. That's the do's. Also, embrace your baby. No matter, as far as, look, even if the baby came with deformity, that is how God created the baby. And embrace it. Look, if you show the baby with love, or if you shower the baby with love, look, trust me, you are going to be the happiest mother on earth. And one thing I have seen that, if you handle something with care, anyone that comes closer tends to handle that thing with care. Because they know you don't joke with it.
I feel
That's true.
If you handle your partner with care, the friends around you handle her with care, madam, because they know you don't joke with her. And so that is how it is. If you handle your baby well, no, even if the baby is deformed, your friends will like the baby because they know the baby is on your heart and you don't joke with the baby. And so that's the do's. Now they don't. Please don't tell people what they already know.
Hey, why I kiss you?
But maybe it's because they know it, but they are not working at it.
They're not working. Why are you the person to tell them to work at it? And when did
like
it become a crime to become chubby?
Like I'm saying, maybe it's out of a good intent. It's out of a place of goodwill for the person. It's not necessarily meant to demotivate or demean the person. So then maybe my pushback would be say how to say it rather than not to say it at all. I don't know if you get.
But how about minding your business? You know, if you are not a partner and you are a friend, I think there are certain things you don't need to be saying.
That's true.
Yeah, but you see again the push. And
I understand
doing
it. No, look, the way you are defending it.
I'm playing the devil's advocate here, right? I'm all for people being themselves and expressing themselves. Right. Yeah, but you see, there's also the issue, right? So, for example, outside of postpartum depression, somebody's obese or is dealing with obesity, and the person is just not minding his business.
Why did you use obese? Have you gone to check the person's BMI?
What if the person then, that's the thing, so like I'm saying, it's purely a devil's advocate thing.
Break the two of you, we'll never read any of the messages that we have.
But and just briefly on this, that, of course, the person admits it. So let's assume the person admits he's obese or she's obese, but it's not working at it. It's still falling to the same issues that got him or her there. Am I not in a good place to say, maybe, hey guy, you want to check this, you want to do this, you want to do this. So don't you think it's how you say it rather than not saying it at all?
Right, how you say it. But then, are you saying it for health conditional purposes or for just the looks of the person? If that added weight would bring health implications, then it is very important the person works on it. But if it won't, then you don't need to force anyone
to do anything.
There is nothing wrong with being chubby. Yes.
I think
Let's read some of the messages that we have. So this one says, good morning. I'm a first-time mother. My baby cries a lot in the middle of the night. She's well fed before she sleeps, and I change her diapers when necessary. What can be the problem? This is Isinam from Dawenya.
Okay. So the baby is well fed.
Well fed.
And then she changes diapers.
Yes.
But she cries.
A lot.
Yes, a lot at night.
Babies cry. So it can be other factors. If you have other rooms, try changing her room and then see. These things work. Sometimes if you take them to different environments, they try to calm down.
So is it that the room might be too cold or too hot? Or
babies, you can't really predict them.
Sometimes you wish they could talk.
Exactly. Because now she has said, what I would have asked her to do is what she has done already. So right now we don't know what's wrong with the baby. So, and babies can't talk, so she should try other means, like changing the environment. And
okay, this one is from Lydia in Taifa. She says that it's a very important discussion we're having. Postpartum depression is very real. When she gave birth, I didn't want to hold my baby because of the complications I experienced during and after pregnancy.
Yes.
Not hold your baby.
It's serious.
It is that serious. There are people, they don't even, she didn't want to hold. There are people who don't want to set eyes on their baby.
Yes. But what about mothers who don't even know that they're going through postpartum depression?
So one thing about it is you don't know. So anyone saying they don't know, it is a topic we are discussing. But if I'm going through it right now, I wouldn't know I'm going through it. It is after that when I come back to my senses, let me use that word, because it's something that you don't understand. When you are going through it, you don't know.
Understand.
It's like a mad person. When you ask them, when you tell them they are mad, they'll tell you they are not mad because they don't know. They are not of themselves. It's a mental condition.
Well, Nana Afua, and this will be my last question to you. I had an interesting conversation. We have to do this again. My question to you is, at what point will you say, now you have to seek medical help after experiencing all of this? And maybe you'd want to start with even baby conditions that parents are not familiar with. At which point do you say, get a pediatrician in? And for postpartum, at what point do you say you have to go and seek some medical or clinical help?
Okay. So, you know, what you just read, she doesn't want to touch the baby.
Yeah.
She should seek medical help. So at that point, when you don't want to set eyes or touch the baby or cry on the baby, sometimes there are some of us who will be holding the baby and be crying on the baby, then that means you need to
seek medical help.
How
about, so outside of postpartum depression, babies, right? Something is happening to your baby. You're not too sure of. You've read about it. You've listened to Nana Afua McRighteous, but you're still not too sure. When do you seek medical help?
So anything that is beyond your control,
right?
Anytime you see your baby is reacting different from the normal, then you should, that is why you should have your midwife's contact or any family doctor, medical personnel. Anytime that baby is acting abnormal or anything that you are not familiar with, please seek medical attention.
Wow. Thank you so much, Nana Afua McRighteous, an emerging midwifery officer and a public health advocate. Impressive and amazing job you are doing within the space. I mean, so many people have their issues, and I like that you are coming out to communicate and offer free consultation, right?
Yes.
But if they come to you in private, it's not free.
No.
But on TV, it's free.
Sure.
Wow. Thank you so much, Nana Afua McRighteous. So listeners, viewers, there you have it. An interesting and an intriguing conversation on all you need to know as a first-time parent or a first-time mother. I didn't know that once the baby's in the womb, you can do some communication and things. So now we'll start talking. But I can't, right? Because it's not my womb, unfortunately.
No, you have to talk to
so I can still talk to my wife's. Wow, we'll start talking now. So yeah, listeners, viewers, stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.